Thank you for joining us for the Opportunity and Optimism virtual event with Miami Realtors. This is our second commercial event with Miami Realtors, and we're thrilled to share insights into two active markets your clients are interested in pursuing. Today, you will hear from TREB's Chief Economist, Jason Mercer, and Miami Realtors CEO, Teresa King-Kinney, about the commercial market and multi-residential sphere in the Greater Toronto and Miami markets. Teresa will also share the impacts of Miami's Surfside building collapse on the market and what this means for South Florida's condo rules and regulations. Stick around for the haves and wants session. You can get in touch with a realtor who is representing a buyer seeking office, retail, or industrial property on either side of the border. Now, over to TREB's Chief Market Analyst, Jason Mercer, to share the latest on the economy, employment, and multi-residential and condo markets in the GTA.
Thanks very much, Kevin, and I appreciate everyone taking part in this morning's session. And I'm proud to be part of the second session that we've had over the past year. And many of you who took part in the inaugural session between Miami and TREB will remember we provided sort of a broad overview of the economy as well as commercial markets. And we decided this time around we drill into one of the segments that I think in both markets garners a lot of attention from an investment perspective, and that's multi-residential. And certainly from Toronto's standpoint, from the Greater Toronto area standpoint, a lot of that discussion revolves around investment in the condo space and how that translates into rental stock as well. So with that said, what I'll do is I will share my screen now, my presentation. Could someone just give me a quick thumbs up that they can see the presentation in front of them?
It looks good, but it's not in slideshow form yet.
How is that?
There you go. Perfect.
Excellent. Well, as I said, thank you again for allowing me to take part in this session. I think the last one was a great success, but for those of you that didn't take part, I'll just give you a sense as to what the quote unquote Toronto region looks like, because it's a lot bigger than just the city of Toronto. We're essentially talking about 16 regions, counties, or amalgamated cities that are centered around the city of Toronto. We're talking about 9.2 million people according to the last census. The federal government through Stats Canada undertook a new census or an updated census in 2021, but the results aren't out. But certainly the expectation is that we'll be cresting the 10 million mark when you're thinking about overall population in the Greater Golden Horseshoe. And so, as I said, the city of Toronto, outlined in orange, is sort of the center of this broader urban region. But then certainly, when you think about the Greater Toronto area, which a lot of the statistics I'm going to present today are based on that sort of surrounding region. But on top of that, we also have the Greater Golden Horseshoe that essentially runs from the border at the Niagara Falls border all the way around through areas like Kitchener-Waterloo, Barrie, and over around to Peterborough. So again, about 10 million people we're talking about. And just to give you a bit of a sense as to how we've progressed through the pandemic really since early 2020. And we did see certainly a downwards blip, not unlike what we saw in other developed countries around the world. Initially, as the pandemic hit in the winter of 2020, a very steep drop off in terms of employment. That took us back to levels that we hadn't seen really since 2010. So essentially shaving off a decade's worth of employment growth over a very short period of time. But as you experience south of the border as well in many metropolitan areas, as households and businesses became more accustomed to working under the pandemic circumstances, we actually clawed back a lot of those employment losses very, very quickly. To the point where, by the midway through 2020, and certainly as we reached the end of the summer, we gained back a lot of those employment losses. A bit of volatility there as we went through a few successive waves of rising case counts. But again, employment again is picking up as we move through the fall of this year. And so that's a good sign. If you flip that statistics on its head and think about the overall unemployment rate, obviously a huge spike. The highest rate of unemployment for a very temporary period of time. But again, labor markets are tightening up, especially in those sectors that were able to make that a relatively easy transition from the bricks and mortar workplace to working from home. And fortunately, as we've seen more vaccine take up, we've also seen those consumer focused businesses, bricks and mortar businesses are starting to bring online more employees again as well. And so generally speaking, we've seen that steady dip in the unemployment rate with market conditions tightening up in many sectors. And with that in mind, we're also starting to see a resurgence in population growth as well in the region. I mean, for obvious reasons, we saw immigration drop off dramatically into the province of Ontario and certainly the Greater Toronto area. And just for a bit of background for people who aren't familiar with our region, our population doesn't grow but for immigration. We attract people from all around the world to take advantage of, number one, the cultural diversity that exists within the Greater Toronto area and broader Greater Golden Horseshoe. And obviously, all of these individuals are also looking to take advantage of the diversity of employment opportunities that exist across a number of different sectors. And so I'd argue that certainly the Greater Toronto area is the most diverse metropolitan economy in Canada. From a jobs creation perspective, and one of the most diverse in North America as well. And so it's great to see that as we move through the first quarter or the end of 2020 and into 2021, we have seen an uptick in immigration, and we'd expect that to continue as we move through 2022 and 2023. In fact, one of the major tenets of the federal government's overall recovery plan is to see record and near record levels of immigration over the next few years, because that'll obviously fuel demand for goods and services that are produced for the domestic economy in Canada. And one of those areas where we'd expect to see continued demand is in rental housing. And so if you think about the size of the Greater Toronto Area rental market, and this is based on statistics produced by the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, you're getting on 500,000 purpose-built and condominium investor-held condominium rental apartments in the Greater Toronto Area. And as you'd expect, given that we've seen strong population growth sustained on a year in and year out basis over the last decade on the back of immigration, it makes sense then that we've also seen an uptick in that stock. But what's interesting is where that growth in the stock has come from. Because if you look at purpose-built rental apartments, so those are properties that are built by investors for the sole purpose of renting out to tenants upon completion. But if you look, we've basically seen a flatlining in that type or that segment of the rental stock. Where we've really seen additions is actually investor-held condominium apartments. And so by and large, we're talking about people who purchased a unit at a pre-construction sales center, took occupancy and title, say 4 to 5 years down the road as that project completed, and then they chose to rent it out to tenants. And that's where most of the additions to the rental stock has come from over the last decade or so. And so to give you a sense, back in 2007, the condominium investor-held condominium apartments accounted for about 11.5% of the overall rental stock in the Greater Toronto Area. Now we're getting on a third. So again, that just sort of highlights, where those stock additions have come from over the last number of years. And so to give you a sense of rental market performance, because we've seen strong population growth, because we've seen relatively low levels of unemployment in the GTA over the last decade, it's not surprising then that the vacancy rates by and large have remained very low in the Greater Toronto Area, certainly between say 1 and 1.5% over the few years leading up to COVID-19 for purpose-built rental apartments in blue, but also rental condo apartments in gray. You see that in a lot of cases the vacancy rate had actually been below 1%. And one of the key reasons underlying that is because condo apartments were accounting for a greater and greater share of the new stock being online, those apartments were in high demand because they offered modern amenities and finishings and were built in neighborhoods that were desirable around the city and surrounding suburban areas. Now, obviously, as we moved into COVID-19, the rental market was especially hard hit because a lot of people that are renting today were working in industries that were a little bit more population serving or population based and weren't able to make as much of a transition to work from home. And so we did see a temporary uptick in vacancy rates, both for rental condo apartments and for purpose built. But it's interesting because if you look and sort of correlate, active condo rental listings on TREB's MLS system to the vacancy rate over time, you can obviously see that there is a correlation. As listings go up, you certainly see an uptick in the vacancy rate, both on the purpose built and the condo rental side, and vice versa as listings go down. And that makes sense. And so obviously with a spike of listings as we move through 2020, that saw an increase in vacancies, and as we'll see on the next slide, also led to a bit of a suppression in rents, if you will, but albeit temporary. Because if you look at where active listings have gone over the course of the last year, things have tightened up again dramatically in the marketplace. And so when we see the next sort of measure of vacancy reported by the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation at the end of this year, I'd certainly expect to see, the vacancy trend moving back down, probably closer in line with numbers that we're seeing, say, in 2015 and 2019, perhaps not to the lows that we saw in 2017 and 2018, but definitely a tightening trend, one that should lead to a renewed growth in average rents. And that's where I'll leave off, just to give you a sense as to how those changes in market conditions have impacted overall average rents in the GTA. And this is showing condominium apartment rents for transactions reported through TREB's MLS system, both for a 1-bedroom and 2-bedroom condominium apartments. And as you can see, over the last decade leading up to the pandemic, we had seen, very strong rent growth, especially over the last 5 years as rental market conditions tightened up in line with sort of a broader supply shortage that we've been facing in the GTA, and certainly, keeping track with a lot of markets south of the border as well. That's not news in many metropolitan areas in the US either, where there has been supply shortages, and obviously that's had impact on pricing, both on the rental and ownership side. So we did see rents trend a little bit lower as a result of increased vacancy rates in 2020, but we are starting to see a renewal of rent growth as we move through 2021. And again, that sort of backs up, my hypothesis that we'll certainly see lower vacancy rates as are reported again through the end of this year. And so that's the rental market in the GTA in a nutshell. I'll certainly be happy to address people's questions as we move into that haves and wants stage of the meeting today. But with that, I'll turn it over to Teresa. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Stephen Riggle. I'm the president of Miami Commercial this year, and I'm very happy to introduce our CEO for Miami Realtors, Teresa Kinney. Her energy and vision has been amazing since I've been involved with the group. I think Teresa's been the CEO for about 28 years here at Miami, seeing the group grow from a relatively mid-sized group to over 53,000 members of Miami Realtors. And I can't tell you how excellent it's been to interact with Teresa during my time as president of Miami Commercial. Thank you very much, Teresa, for everything you've done for us. Ladies and gentlemen, Teresa Kinney.
Thank you very much, everyone. And great job, Jason. It's always important to learn about our partners at TREB, and we're so excited to have the partnership with you all. It's my pleasure today to give you some information about the Miami, South Florida condos and investment market. So we're going to jump right into it. I have a lot of information for you. I'm going to go pretty quickly, but the great news is that Paul is going to post at the end of this program the link to the entire presentation. So you can look at it and study it at your convenience. So we're going to go ahead and move forward on the program. And it's amazing that we are breaking records this year. And so we actually have set new records already for total sales for 6 out of the 10 months this year. This isn't just compared to last year. These are all-time records. in the entire 20+ year history, I'm sorry, 30 or 40+ year history of the Miami MLS. So what a year we have going. We're going to talk about condo, Miami-Dade condo closed sales. We are up 70% year over year for Miami. It's our 11th consecutive month of at least double-digit condo sales increase. Our luxury condo sales are also surging, which is a great announcement for Miami, increasing 217% year over year. Our Broward closed sales are also up almost 27% over last year. Our Palm Beach sales are up 20% over last year. And so what's behind the sales surge? Well, more individuals and companies are moving from high tax, high density areas. Read Northeast, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and also California and some other markets to South Florida, where we have no income tax and are extremely pro-business. So what's hot? Well, financial and tech. Almost every week, sometimes every day, there are new announcements that hit the newspaper about who's coming to Miami in the finance and tech world. So it's a pretty amazing place to be. Low mortgage interest rates certainly make home purchases more affordable and have an important impact on this. And pin-up demand, increased availability of remote work. So if you can work anywhere, why not work here? So let's talk about our condo month supply.
I think we're having a little problem hearing you.
TK, we lost your audio.
Okay,
Now we
Okay, we
can hear you.
got you back. Got you back.
if this would stop doing that. Are you seeing the same message on the screen I am?
We are not. We just see the slides.
Good, and I'm going to ignore it. All right. So Broward condos median prices, did I skip? Miami-Dade median prices are up 26% year over year, and that's at $335,000 median sale price on condos. Broward condos are at $220,000, and that's up 10%. And Palm Beach condos median home sale prices are $232,000. That's up almost 8%. So I'm just going to click through these. You'll have them to study. We have multifamily vacancy rates, Miami compared to the national average. We have industrial vacancy and cap rates, I'm sorry, on these. We continue on with retail, and you'll see in every case, we are just about at the national average or slightly under. And here is our office vacancy rate and cap rate. Again, these are all going to be in PowerPoints for you to review. Speaking of office, we're very excited that Miami area has 2 of the top 10 commercial markets in 2021. That's Miami and Palm Beach. So now we're going to talk about commercial real estate trends in the greater Miami, Miami Beach, Kendall metro areas. These were provided recently by the National Association of Realtors. So look at this, the growth over year over year percent change and asking rent growth. You'll see on all of these, Miami is ahead of the national average on these. Multifamily vacancy rates, again, Miami is ahead. Apartment units under construction and as a percent of inventory. So the number of units are shown here and percent of inventory, 8.4. Office space under construction, the units are there and we are 3.2%. Office vacancy rates, again, better than the national average. Everything is up that's supposed to be up. Year over year rent growth, up again. So here we have 12-month net absorption of office space as of the third quarter, and you'll see that Palm Beach and Miami in positive net absorption are second and third only to Austin, Texas. What a great market. Year over year percent of change and asking rent is up over the national average. Our 12-month net absorption of retail space is at a great point, as you can see on the chart. Our 12-month net absorption of industrial space, also at a great point. And our retail vacancy rate, better than the national average. Here we have just a few of the top CRE deals in South Florida. You can access them, all of them, and see more highlights at miamirealtors.com/C5. C5 is the National Association's commercial conference that just took place in New York City, and these are just a few of the great announcements that have been coming. I want to talk a little bit about foreign buyer trends. So these were provided by the National Association. The decline in tourist travels to the United States, wow, but no surprise to anyone. We're very excited that November 1, this opens back up again, and we expect to see a big difference. Here we have top buyers of U.S. property. Canada is second only to China and barely behind China on this chart. And so now we're going to cover a few of the things from the profile of international home buyers for Miami that the National Association does for us. Last year, we had them do for the first time, tell us who the inside U.S. Buyers are within the country. Our top buyers, not surprisingly, are from New York, New Jersey, and California. 70% of the foreign buyers held B1 and B2 visas. The major destinations of foreign buyers for the entire United States, Florida has been number one for 12 consecutive years. This says 22% of every international buyer that comes into the U.S. buys in Florida. And nearly half of all of those buy in our region. What a great place we have to market here in South Florida. So Florida's major buyers, you'll see that Canada is far and away number one. No one else is even close. Florida destinations of Canadian buyers, it's ours. We're number one and no one else is even close. So we're at 37%. Tampa is down at 15. Cape Coral, Fort Myers is down at 10, and so on down. So what are the top tier countries of origin for Miami? Well, this shows you what our top tier countries are, and Canada is number 6. And considering the number of international buyers in Miami, that is a huge number for Canada. So what are Miami's other foreign buyers? We're extremely diversified in foreign buyers and not reliant on any one or two or three particular markets. So what about Broward County? Canadians were by far the number one buyers in Broward County. What about Palm Beach? You were tied in the top 3, along with Brazil and France, for top international buyers in Palm Beach. Foreign buyer median purchase price, it's only down slightly with all of this change that we've talked about. It's still at $357,000. 68% of foreign buyers paid cash, higher than among U.S. foreign buyers. 95% of foreign buyers visited Florida at least once before purchasing a property. But look at that, 18 bought after only their first visit, and 31% bought only after their second visit. This you can access also at our website, and we talk about the top rankings in the U.S., which we love. So Miami is number 5 in the U.S. for highest multifamily transaction volume, number 2 for best office market in the nation, number 2 of the top 10 for the strongest commercial markets, number 2 best multifamily market in the U.S., number 2 emerging technology hub in the U.S., number 3 for best places to remote work, number 1 for tech job growth. And Palm Beaches is the only place in the world where we have both of these major standalone institutes for biomedical research. So it's been my pleasure to do this update for you. And I was asked to do a quick impact on the Surfside collapse on the Miami market and properties. There has been no impact on condo or property sales in the Miami and South Florida market after the Surfside collapse. Sales have continued to soar, as evidenced by the stats that I just showed you a few moments ago. What has changed is the impact and focus on our older condominium and apartment buildings. A few additional buildings have been closed pending repairs, and more communities are considering requirements such as our 40-year recertification program. Our program is one of the strictest in the country, but additional changes are considered in the program, and additional enforcements are being considered. And so that's my 10 minutes. And thanks so much for allowing me to be with you. Check out the PowerPoint slides that will be posted in the chat. Thank you all.
Thank you, Teresa. And we have now posted Teresa's presentation, and Jason will share his presentation as well. You can access that link directly now in the chat. So you are welcome to download that PDF. There's a lot of great information in there. We're fortunate we have Joshua Cohn and Jason Mercer to host the Haves and Needs now. So both of them are going to host the Haves and Needs and call on people. You're welcome to, if you do have something, you can unmute yourself, and Josh and Jason will call on you, and we'll get your haves and needs out there. And you can also, we will open up the chat as well so that you can post either text in your information, or you can also post PDFs and links and things like that and documents. So welcome, Joshua and Jason. Joshua, you want to take it over?
Sure. Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Jason and Teresa, for updates on our great markets. Yeah, this is a great time to share our haves and wants. There are about 300 of us today. Generally, there's about 75 of us on, and if we all take about a minute to a minute and a half to talk about your most haves and most important have and want, we get a chance to go around the room. However, today, with as many people as we have, I think Jason and I were thinking the best way to go about this is, if you're interested in presenting, raise your hand on the computer so that we can see you and call on you, and we will do our best to give everybody a chance to present. Like Paul said just before, a really good way to make sure that your information gets shared, whether you present or not, is to put it into the chat, which will get shared at the end of the meeting later on, as well as the slideshow for both Jason and Teresa. That being said, I'm going to call on a board member first. I'm going to call actually on Steve Riggle, because I see him here, and he can show you guys kind of like an example of what we do in terms of an important have and want, and keep it in a time. So Steve.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Teresa, thank you very much for presenting all that information, and also Jason, really appreciate the insight into the Toronto market. That both presentations were just super informative, and thanks for that. And Josh, thanks for your help, and as always in supporting the haves and wants and being the MC of this from Miami's side. I have a almost 3 acres in Hialeah Gardens, which is basically northwest Miami-Dade County. It's industrial property ready for redevelopment after the existing leases expire. 5.85 million, 3 tenants. 2 of them are longer term leases. 1 of them we're renegotiating an extension with them. The cap rate is in the 6.3 range. Seller is ready to talk, so 305-546-6933. If you need more information, I'll post the flyer in the chat. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So I do see a hand that's raised. I'm going to call on Amy Lamb. Amy, would you like to present the have and want for us? I typically give it around 3 to 5 seconds for you to respond, and then I move on to the next person. So I don't want to. No, she went mute. Okay, I see Zachariah is ready for us. So let's call on Zachariah. Good morning.
Good morning. It's my first time doing this, so I put a PDF flyer in the chat. So I guess other than that, it's verbal description. So what Jorge Napoles and myself have at the moment is an entire rooftop on the 48th floor of a high rise here in Brickell. It's an incredible space. You have 2 commercial units on either shoulder. Give or take, one is about 2,800 square feet plus terrace. It's over 3,000. And then there's a kind of a mirror image, but without, say, a commercial kitchen space that's about just over 1,600 square feet on, I guess I would call that the northeast side of the building. Absolutely gorgeous. Inside the spaces, it's floor to ceiling, 20 feet in windows. So you're surrounded by the Christmas tree that is Brickell at night, and then you have an unobstructed view to Key Biscayne as well. But I think that pretty much wraps it up. Unless I'm
I know that your contact information is in the chat. You did it like a pro. So whether this was your first time or not, yeah, you did it all correct. I would say your name and your contact information one more time. We are live, and so it'll just go to everybody else that will share it too also. Okay.
Zachariah Cashin, working with Jorge Annapolis at Sperry CGA, Annapolis Real Estate Services, 305-509-0043. I'll also put my email in the chat, and then we'll put a redundancy with the contact information.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for presenting. I see Gracia is ready to go. She's just put an off-market property with 15 acres. Would she like to present your property?
Just feel free to unmute yourself and start to present.
I think Grisha actually dropped off the call. I don't see her anymore. Michael Davidson, I've moved over to panelist.
Good morning, Michael.
Hi, good morning. I'm here. Sorry, I'm not live at the moment. Thanks for the opportunity to share this office building. It's a prime location in North York. This property has a link that I can include here in the chat. I guess I can put that on there so everybody can access it. And if there's any questions, just send me an email. There it is, 1018 Finch Avenue West. The owner of the property built it in 1990. Here I am. Not by the beach. I wish I was in Florida. It just has over $500,000 gross income, and it's been renovated, new elevators, a couple new HVAC units. But the location's central to all major highways. A new subway was built actually on Shepherd Avenue West that is close to the University of York. And this opportunity has been looked at mostly by users and institutions. So it is a prime location that gives someone the ability to use up to about 14,000 square feet within the next year. It has 95% occupancy, so not a lot of vacancies, but we are starting to see some spaces come available, which is great for a user who might want to take 2 or 3 floors of the building and a lease back by the seller with potential VTB. So ready to do business, and thanks for the opportunity to share this property.
Thank you. That sounds great. So I see that Gracia is ready to go. Gracia, can you unmute yourself? Would you like to present?
Good morning, everyone. This is Gracia with Lucido Commercial in Miami Beach. How's everybody? I have a couple of properties, off-market properties, industrial zone, ready to go. One in Virginia, great for industrial outside storage, and 2 in Homestead that add to 38 acres. They're being rezoned at the moment, and it will be it really close to the new Amazon headquarters. My information, my email is on the chat if anybody wants to contact me.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Lennis, good morning. Lennis, you ready for us? We're ready for you. Guys, my name is Josh Cohen, and I am in Miami, Florida. I am looking for land. I have a client. We're buying property in the Hialeah area, specifically along 37th Avenue from 36th Street to roughly 54th Street. If you have a building or land, we're really interested. We're closing today and closing the rest of this month on some other properties, please consider me. 305-794-6704. And I will put my contact information in the chat. Lennis, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Josh. Good morning, everybody. My name is Lennis Camacho with Upper Real Estate Management. We are dedicated to provide property management services for multifamily and residential buildings and single-family home. I will be posting my information on the chat as well as a PDF with the services. Also, we are a CAM office, and we also are member of IRM, the Institute of Real Estate Management. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lennis. Lennis is also a Miami commercial board member, guys. Active in the community. How about let's hear from Marber Ariano. Marber, good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you?
Great, good to hear from you.
Thank you. I'm looking for a space and design district for a showroom. It could be for lease or even for buy. It has to be at least 5 square feet, 5,000, I'm sorry. So, I mean, I already look around, but if somebody has something off market or coming up, please let me know. I'm gonna give my information. I'll leave my information on the chat. Thank you.
Great.
For a little context to those in Toronto, our design district is a little bit north of the city. It's 25, 30 blocks north of the downtown area. And it hosts brands from Tiffany to Gucci's to even much more expensive than that. It's a really hot area of luxury brands and some of the top dining in all of South Florida and the whole country. So
yeah, there is not that much option there.
Yes, it's got a world-class shopping.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I see Philip. Good morning, Philip.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I've got a boutique shopping center in Northeast Fort Lauderdale. I've got 4 spaces left between 1,000 square feet and 3,100 square feet, from $11 to $28 a square foot plus CAM. I also have north of Orlando in Bellevue, almost 3/4 of an acre with a 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath house, but it's zone B2 on Highway 301. That's a booming area between the Villages and Ocala. And I'm also working with a new client who's getting ready to involve himself with a 1031, and he's got over $5 million that he needs to reinvest. I'd love for you to call me at 954-465-8427. Thank you.
Thank you. So our next member is board member Jose Garcia. Good morning, Jose.
Good morning, George. I'm Jose Garcia from KW Commercial. I got 2 different buyers looking to get 2 different warehouses from 20 to 40,000 square foot. And I have another person interested in to lease a small warehouse for luxury furniture in Hialeah or Miami area. My telephone number is 305-927-921222. I'm going to put my information on the chat. Thank you, George. And thank you, Teresa and Jason, for the great presentation that you did. You always give us the best of Miami.
Kevin Kruger online. Kevin, want to talk to us about any of your Little River properties or any other new highlights you may have?
Hey guys, good morning. Kevin Kruger with Rise Realty. Thank you, Josh. I like the glasses today as well. Toronto, welcome. Bienvenue. So as Josh mentioned, I do some industrial brokerage throughout Dade and a little bit of Broward. I actually would like to highlight some requirements of my fellow South Florida real estate agents that I've got about 25,000 square foot warehouse search for one of my bakery clients. They need to build a commissary, preferably up near 595 and Route 95, which is a nice interchange outside of Fort Lauderdale for those in Toronto that don't know. And then we're also doing their retail requirements. So about 2,000 square feet plus. So some of you retail listing brokers, please keep me in mind on that. And thank you for the opportunity to engage.
Absolutely, Kevin. Thank you for being here. Is Amy Lamb ready to present? Is Amy still with us? Then I'm going to call on people, whether your name is raised or not. And if you'd like to present, we'd love to hear from you. I know that Joe Palaio is on the call. He typically has a few people in his office. Joe, is anybody ready to go? What do you have?
Please make sure everyone just raise your hand. There's an icon to raise your hand, so that way Josh knows that you do want to present. If there's no more presenters, then we can call in a couple more people, but
wait,
I see a few.
I see Lorena is ready to go for us. Lorena, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Sorry I was late. I confused the time today, but I'm glad to see you again. I have a piece of land in Bokeelia, Lee County, Cape Coral, Gulf Coast. All the information to let you know where it is exactly is 1.6 acres, and the pricing is 142,100. So if you want to receive more information, you can call me to 954-562-8385. Again, 954-562-8385. Thank you, and thank you, Toronto.
Good morning, Joe, in Joe's office. This is a gentleman who is never quiet and has got a lot of information for us. So I can't believe he's not unmuted already. Maybe Jason has some people that he sees in the group chat that some names that he'd like to call on.
I have not as of yet. Michael certainly, thank you very much to Michael. He's been on our commercial committee in the past, but I'd certainly also be happy to answer any questions if there's anyone from your group that had questions about my presentation or any broader questions about the Toronto market. So that's also always an option.
Yes, you can raise your hand or put a question into the Q&A. We're happy to share any questions for either Jason or Teresa on their presentations. And I see Prashanath has, if you would like, we can call on you as well. You have investors that we would love to know about. So you're welcome to come on and let us know. You put your email there, so that's great, but please let us know.
Well, I mean, I guess the good part here is that everybody feels like they're sharing, and I hope everybody's really busy with deals. And that's why we're all really quiet right now, because we're focused on right.
We have Fernando and Nerth now have their hands raised, so that's great. We have our 2022 chairman.
Good morning, Fernando.
Good morning, Josh. Good morning, everyone. This is just wonderful to connect with our growing international partners. Thank you, Jason, for the wonderful presentation and all the education. And TK, of course, who, aside from all of her roles, she's also a mind reader. She usually knows what we're going after before we even express it. So thank you for all that you do for our Miami members. I have a great business opportunity for anyone that's looking for a school. It is a VPK license for 84 students. What's wonderful about it is that it's in a freestanding building with a very, very advantageous lease that has long-term control of over 10 years. It has plenty of parking and it has a huge park. There's many ways in which you can create multiple streams of income with this business. So if you have anybody that already has a VPK school that wants to grow, that wants to expand, it's in the western part of the county, or someone that is starting from scratch and is going into this business, I could tell you that the people that are running the business are willing to stay for 6 months to make sure that it is a smooth transition and make sure that that is going, continues to be a great ongoing concern. So I will put my contact information in there. And in regards to wants, listen, I'm looking for what everybody in the world is looking for: industrial and multifamily, right? Hopefully industrial at less than $250 a square foot. So Danny Salonker, don't send me anything, please. And, in regards to multifamily, we have clients that are looking for 40 to 100 units. They got a budget of hovering around 18 to $25 million. And when it comes to industrials, the same thing. I got clients, we have already 2 pieces on their contract, but they're looking to invest another 10 to 15 millions on the industrial market in Miami. So again, I'll share my contact info in the chat. And if you have anything that may make the cut, please send it my way. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Fernando. It's good to hear from you. This is the first time I'm saying this your name. Please forgive me. Prashant? And you can correct me, please.
Sounds right. Prashant, are you there?
Prashant, would you like to present your have and want? I see Nerth Jacobo has got their hand raised. Nerth, are you ready for us?
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can.
Good morning. Great.
love-
Hi, Paul. Hi, Josh. How are you?
Good. It's good to hear from you.
Yes, thank you. I have land out of Naples, 5 acres for commercial or residential townhomes, multifamily, and it's out of the market. So whoever's interested is $497,000 for 5 acres. It is zoned commercial and residential, so it's very flexible. If I'll leave my number in the chat, and you're welcome to call me. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Joe Palaio, you're up if you want to be up. Okay. Guys, I'm going to hand it back to Jason and Paul. Thank you.
I did, thanks, Josh. I did see one comment just asking for maybe a bit of elaboration on my part on average rents in the GTA, and this is from Lennis Camacho. So just to give you a sense, I mean, generally speaking, in the GTA over the last decade or so, whether you're talking about the ownership side of the market or the rental side of the market, thinking of condos, it's been pretty tight. As we've seen population growth, a lot of newcomers to Canada and certainly the GTA will choose to rent, at least initially. And then even as we make that move into the ownership market, the condo market is often that sort of entry point for first-time buyers. And so whichever way you cut it, looking at the condo market, whether ownership or investor-held rentals, it's been relatively tight. Now, it's certainly true that as we move through COVID-19, we saw a pretty marked uptick in vacancies, and that did see, the first, substantial drop off in average rents in more than a decade. But I think what's even more telling is that as that market's really tightened up, and whether you're talking about ownership or rental, since January, February of this year, that market's taken off again. I mean, we did consumer polling at the end of the year that showed that 40% of intending buyers were going to be first-time buyers in 2021. And so obviously a lot of that's been pointed at that condo space, and we're seeing renters sort of move off the sidelines again. and come back into the marketplace as well. And so, talking to our members who work on behalf of investors or certainly even, rental apartment providers, that there's been a ton of competition now, especially in sort of major condo nodes throughout the greater Toronto area. So, it's my position that, as we move through, say, the first quarter of 2022, we should see average 1 and 2 bedroom rents more or less back to where they were pre-COVID. And again, that's just on the back of a real, tight inventory. Basically, we haven't seen any rental supply come online, but for investor held condos. And so, we're sort of shaking off that initial downtrend that we saw as a result of COVID-19 and getting back to those tighter market conditions that we'd seen, 2016 through 2019. And I will send along my presentation after today's event, and you can certainly share it with all your members. And we're always happy to. I'm sure our members certainly would be happy to talk to any of you about opportunities that exist in the GTA. And I'm always happy to take your call and talk about the market as well.
I know there's a question here about tax implications for people investing in South Florida. And of course, we always remind you to talk to an accountant in whatever country you're in. But if Teresa or Kevin have any thoughts on that, please share. But I know it depends on how you hold the asset. Any other questions? Anything anyone else wants to share? Jason, do you have any upcoming classes or events in Toronto that you'd like to mention?
Well, one thing we do, we also have a podcast that we do, and we will have a commercial component to that over the next, say, a month or so, where we talk with a representative from Altus Group, who provides a lot of commercial information in the GTA, and our members have access to it. And in a lot of cases, that provides a little bit more breadth, because we don't have every single commercial transaction listed on our MLS system. And so this helps us provide a little bit more breadth for members as well. And so the podcast is called Ready to Real Estate. It's available through all the regular sources for podcasts. We also have policymakers, both from our provincial government sometimes and local government, talking about initiatives around land development and that type of thing. I spoke to the issue of supply. It continues to be a really tight market, and so that's certainly a topic for discussion in our podcast as well, especially vis-a-vis policymakers with upcoming elections in 2022.
Teresa, it's only a year from now, we're going to have our global Congress. Would you like to talk a little bit about that event, which has people from all over the world attend?
I'd be happy to. And that is going to be the Miami Global Real Estate Congress. It is the place to do business. And we usually have representatives, about 80 foreign delegates from many different countries, many in Latin America, but also from Europe. And we would love to have TREB and Canada included this year, this next time. So it will be immediately prior to the NAR conference, and that will be November 6th to the 8th, 2022, followed immediately by the NAR annual conference, which will be in Orlando. And we're very excited because the new high-speed rail is supposed to open up a couple of months before that, which will take people from Miami to Orlando, high-speed, very nice, luxurious rail. And so we're planning an overall event, and quite frankly, I can imagine how active that train is going to be. Anyway, we invite you all to participate with us, and we also invite you to see us at NAR in San Diego this November. And Canada always has a major stand in the NAR Global Networking Center, and this time our stand will be adjacent to Canada's space as well. And we have about the same size space, so major presence there. And we will have more information on our Congress. And TREB is going to be on our honorary wall as one of our honorary reciprocal partners. And we are excited to see Treb and any of you there who can make it. NAR San Diego this year, November, and Miami and Orlando for next November. Thanks for the opportunity, Paul.
Awesome. It's an amazing event, and it's very emotional at the beginning to see all the different flags that come through, because we have so much participation around the world, and the networking alone is just incredible for that event. And if you've never been to the Biltmore, the historic Biltmore in Coral Gables alone, it's worth getting all that information and networking. So great. Thank you again, everybody, for your presentations. Again, I posted it a few times, but we do have a list of everyone who attended. For those of you that presented, thank you. For those that were too shy and just put things in the chat, we appreciate that as well. Next time, hopefully you're willing to go on camera, because we do want to hear your haves and needs. Thank you, Josh and Jason, for hosting this. And Stephen, I want to just recognize again, we have several people from our commercial board, of which Stephen and Joshua are members, and Fernando, our chairman, incoming chairman as well. These ideas of doing these global marketplaces are from our leaders, and it's been incredible to have these events and to bring people together and share this information. If we didn't mention it, these are the two largest associations in the world getting together, sharing information, and residential and commercial, we want to continue to do these kinds of events. These partnerships are really important, and we want to thank everyone for attending. So thank you all today, and have a great winter. You're welcome to come visit us in sunny South Florida anytime you want as we get into November. Jason, you can come down here and present anytime. Thank you all for attending these great presentations.
Thank you all.